Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that you're having a fantastic weekend so far. I hope you're enjoying yourself, enjoying life, and getting in some good studies. Students, in this class, we're looking at IELTS Speaking Part 2, the long part, the cue card. And the cue card topic here is going to be about a lucky time. Kind of a fun topic for today. The cue card can be about a person, a place, an idea, an object, or an event. In this case, it's an event, a lucky event at that. And it is a members chat class. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch. In fact, I encourage you to watch because we will have speaking part 3 after this class, which will continue on this topic of being lucky and on the topic of hard work. Welcome Angel, a new member to our group. It is fantastic to have you on board. Make sure to send me an email so we can hook you up with your channel perks for those exclusive videos. Welcome Fuang, hi Shruti, Romelia, nice to see you in the class. Good to have all of you here. Welcome Alexi, one of our channel moderators. Students, this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. We will use this website, aehelp.com, shortly to practice speaking part 2 with our members and viewers. Click this big red button that's just above my head there. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. So click it and start learning for success on your IELTS exam. We're an IDP affiliate, British Council partner, IELTS Test Registration Center. The link for the website is in the video description. So if you scroll down in YouTube, you will see the link and you can click it. I will also put the link in the chat, and Alexi has also put the link in the chat as well. When you click that, you can enter the code SURPRISE9 for a 10% discount. Surprise without that first P, so pay attention to that. For the general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com, green background, same idea. Click that big red button. Again, it's a one-time payment. Lifetime access, we're an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner and an IELTS Test Registration Center. I'm a certified British Council agent, so you are in good hands. We've got apps for you as well, of course. Check your app stores, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help, Instagram, IELTS_AHelp, GIELTS Help. And if you have questions, you can ask me in this class, or you can ask our moderators. And if you don't get answers, you can always send an email, adrian@aehelp.com, admin@aehelp.com. We have exam books on Amazon. We have our very own exams. They're very much like your official exam. Search for AEhelp's Academic IELTS, GHelp's General IELTS on Amazon. Okay, students, we've got speaking part 2 right now, speaking part 3 coming up in about 2 hours, then no classes until Wednesday, back on Thursday with speaking part 1 for everybody. And then we'll have reading, listening parts 3 and 4, and then we'll have speaking part 2 and 3. I will post this schedule on our YouTube community board and on Instagram. So subscribe to YouTube, check out Instagram, and you'll see the schedule there. And check out our latest video release. We've got another new one coming for you today, so check that out as well. Welcome, Chen. We've got another one of our moderators in with us here, so more people to help you out. All right, here you go. IELTS, speaking part 2, the cue card. This is a speaking class, everybody, so make sure to speak and repeat. Write down new vocabulary, write down the definitions. When you hear some good words, make sure to write them down. Remember them, use them in your speaking as soon as possible. A few of our members have done a really great job in the past few classes, Vuong, you did very well to use vocabulary the last time we had a speaking class, so that's good. Okay, IELTS speaking, about 12 to 15 minutes. It's an interview. It's with a person. In many cases, it's a native English speaker. They are trained to assess and measure your language based on fluency and coherence, grammatical range and accuracy, lexical resource, pronunciation. They're looking at how natural your language is, how coherent, how much it makes sense, and how complex your language is. Those are what they're looking at to give you your final score. And the higher band assessment really starts at part 2. So part 1 is kind of easier. It's on some general topics. It's an introduction, introducing yourself. Part 2 is where you really get into kind of a specific concept. Okay? The examiner will say, that is the end of part 1. We will now begin part 2. For part 2, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to look at these questions, think about your answers, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start and when to stop. And they show you these questions in this little booklet they have. And then they will say your 1 minute preparation time begins now. They check their watch to make sure it's 1 minute. They time you. Okay, so it is timed. It's not like kind of. It's exactly 1 minute. Make sure to use that full minute for your preparation. So you look at the card. Your first step, step 1, is to read the card carefully. Okay? And, you know, it might be a good idea to read the questions twice. You need to make sure that you stay on topic and you talk about the right topic and you answer all the questions, okay? You must answer all the questions clearly within 90 seconds and then expand, okay? So you really do. It's very important that you answer all the questions. If you do not answer all the questions in 90 seconds and the examiner stops you, you've basically lost your chance for a band 9. Okay? All right. So, let's look at this card. Let's read it together. Here we go. Talk about... Oh, that's not the right card. Let me just check here. I'm going to have to change that. Let me grab the right card for us here. It's not the happy one. It's the lucky one. So here we go. There we go. This is the one that I'm looking for. We've got lots of speaking, by the way, students, in your full premium course. There we go. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'll make it look pretty for you. All right. There we go. That's the card we're looking for. Think of a time you were lucky. All right. Where did this happen? When was it? Who were you with? Why were you lucky? And how did you feel about it? Okay. Read it again. Think about a time you were lucky. Where did this happen? When was it? Who were you with? Why were you lucky and how did you feel about it? Okay. So there we go. Luck. Now we've got the right card. Okay. So, step number 1, we read it twice. Step number 2. Identify the category and the tenses. So here clearly we're talking about an event. Okay? All right? And the tense is past tense. Right? It was a time when you were lucky. You can see the tense in the card. So a tense. All right? Now, what other tense do you think should be used when talking to the examiner about a time that you were lucky? Okay, so you're going to use past tense. Jenny says you should probably use present perfect as well. That's right, because present perfect is used to emphasize experience and achievement. Okay, and when you're lucky, you usually want to do that. You usually want to emphasize that experience and that achievement. So you're right. And yes, you would use past continuous and maybe some past perfect as well. That's right, Ahmed. Very good. Okay, when you talk about an event, members, so when you talk about an event that happened to you, what should you include? Okay, so for the examiner to have a clear picture, a clear understanding of this event, what should you include? Location, yeah, try to get the right order, members, especially if you have seen classes on the topic of events. Try to get the right order of the events or talking about the event, okay? Angel, that's right. You should talk about the time of the event. The question asks you, right? When did it happen? So time and Bogdan, the location. Yes, time and location, those should be the first. They create the setting, right? An event is a story. It's a narration of a story. And for good stories, we want to give the time, the location, and the attendees. Okay? So if you think about a movie, right? Like think movie. Movies start by introducing the setting, right? So a movie starts with what's called the setting, the time, the location, and the characters, right? So in 1642 in London, two young people met by the Thames River, right? So location, time, characters. These two young people were very smart and clever and beautiful and had no idea their lives were about to change, right? So the narration of a story, think about that. So time, location, attendees. You should always start with that. Then, Fong, you're right, the activities. What happens? They both went to the same ice cream shop every day to buy ice cream, right? Luckily, one day, there was no strawberry ice cream. So the activities, okay? And then, what's next? All right? So you've got time, location, attendees, and the experience. Okay? Very good. Disappointed, they both looked up and found each other's eyes wanting strawberry ice cream. Right? The experience. So there you go. Time, location, attendees, activities, and the experience. Okay? So you need to think about that sequence of information. Now, it's not always perfect. Don't panic if you just realize that you forgot to say when it is. Just include it. Okay? Fong says strawberry ice cream. Yes, we all love strawberry ice cream. Okay. I scream for ice cream. You scream for ice cream. We all scream for ice cream. Okay. So the event is such. Time, location, attendees, activities, experience. Remember that. Practice that. talking about events. So if you go to your IELTS, you get a cue card that asks you about an event. They're popular cue cards. Then you know that that's what you need to do. Okay, the next step, step 3. Alexi is a bit ahead of us, I think, here, is to think about 2 or 3 situations. So think about 2 to 3 situations when you were lucky. All right, now you can make up those situations, or you can actually think of a real situation potentially when you were lucky. So give me some situations and be specific, students. So when you think about situations, think about specific situations. Okay. Alexi says an unexpected discount for an expensive purchase. That's a good start of an idea, Alexi. You should tell me what that purchase was and what was the discount. So be specific. Okay, Fuang says winning the lottery. All right, Fuang, give me a specific lottery and a specific amount that you had won. Okay, so let's be really specific. By the way, somebody in my city last month, or was it earlier this month, won $55 million. A bookkeeper in North Saanich of Victoria, of Greater Victoria, won $55 million. Okay, Chayani says winning a dance competition. What kind of dance competition, Chayani? Be more specific. All right, Alexi, an unexpected discount of 10% for an expensive tablet. Okay, Alexi, I don't know if I would consider that too lucky, 10%, but let's go with something more specific, like 40% for some strange reason. We can figure that out. 40% discount on Samsung tablet because it was the last piece. Okay? Or it was the showpiece. Maybe. That would be a good one, Alexi. They do that at times here when you go to an electronics store and they're like, oh, we don't have any more, but we've got the piece, the display piece. So we can give you like a 40% discount if you want that one. Okay? All right. So go big or go home, as they say, right? Think about 2 to 3 situations when you were lucky. Think specific. If you're going to use your imagination, use your imagination. Really be specific. You start with an idea like winning the lottery, right, Fuang? And then you go to a more specific idea like winning $100,000 on my local sweepstakes in Hanoi, okay, or in Ho Chi Minh. Okay, so be specific. All right, Chayani, I want you to be specific as well. Shruti, Bogdan, Angel, give me some original ideas of being lucky. Search your memory banks, visualize, think about maybe some friends or family members that have been lucky in certain situations, okay? Luck can be winning money, luck can be finding objects or getting discounts on objects. Luck can also be an event, right? Like winning a dance competition, or there are definitely some other events that pop into my mind, okay? All right. Think about like during traveling. A lot of people feel that they get lucky when they go on a trip and when they travel, okay? Ahmed says, when my friend took me to a fine dining restaurant. Ahmed, make sure that you know the correct vocabulary, okay? So, friend Mo invited me to a fine dining restaurant, okay? Fine dining Italian restaurant, all right? So, that's an experience, absolutely. Chayani says, first place and won 1 million rupiah. Okay, now remember, Chayani, luck and hard work are, well, slightly different sometimes. So keep that in mind, Okay, so national dance competition, 1 million rupiah. Rupiah? Rupiah, like that. Okay. All right. Okay. How about upgraded to a first class ticket flying to Dubai, right? That happens to people. So you go on a trip somewhere, there's some kind of a problem with your airplane ticket. Oh no, you're not going to arrive on time. It looks like it's going to be a big problem. And then luckily the airline's like, wait, we want you to be happy. We had a cancellation. We're moving you up to first class. And you get to fly in luxury all the way to Dubai. Now, I just picked Dubai on purpose because Dubai Airlines first class is some of the best in the world. Has that happened to any of you where you were on a flight or on a trip and you got upgraded for your ticket? Hasn't happened to me yet. It happened to my parents flying to, I think, Australia or something like that. All right, Fuang, that's a good one. So Fuang says, won a ticket for 7-day trip to Shanghai. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. So lots of ideas. I want you to think about it. Pick one of your ideas, students. So pick one of your ideas and develop your idea while we work together on a common band 9 answer. Okay, so we're going to kind of do this simultaneous work today, and I know that some of you already did this before in past classes where you were realizing like, hey, I'm going to work on my idea while we work on this idea together in class. So I'm going to work on this first class ticket to Dubai. Okay, that's going to be my pick here. Okay, so first class ticket upgrade to Dubai. While I do that, pick one of your own. Okay, so we're going to do that 1 minute preparation time, right? So in the 1 minute preparation, what you need to do. And follow the same system. Pay attention to what I'm doing with my idea. And then do it for your idea, okay? So your next step, everybody, step 4, is to make sure that you write detailed notes. So your notes should be details that are not obvious and allow you to expand and sound original. Okay? And they must follow the structure of the categories. So here it's the event, right? And the event is time, location, attendees, activities, experience, right? Okay. So must follow this, okay? Your notes, it's very important, must follow the correct pattern. Okay? For event, time, location, attendees, experience. So, okay, here are my notes. All right. Now again, hopefully all of you have picked your own unique lucky time concept here. So first I'm going to talk about the time. Okay, now in your notes you only need to do a T maybe for this. You don't need to write out time. So you want to maximize your 1 minute, okay, which means minimize your writing. And you wouldn't do something like last year, okay? hopefully you remember that. If it happened to you last year, then you should remember that. You shouldn't have to write last year, right? So something more specific that's going to help you give more details. Okay, so the time would be let's say 7 a.m. Okay, the airport's opening 7 a.m. Let's go with October 24, and let's make it a Sunday or a Saturday. Okay, so that would be a bit better. Why? Because that opens up my thinking to a lot of good details. Like, I would have had to wait until Monday, 2 days at the airport. So I was feeling really stressed. It was the weekend and it looked like the flight was going to be delayed for mechanical reasons, right? So it gives me a lot of ideas of how I can expand on this situation and really emphasize lucky time. Okay. Then location. Okay, so where did it happen? Maybe I was transferring, and here I'm going with an L. Okay, so again, don't write location, just write an L. And don't write down airport. Okay, obviously we're going to know the word airport, so don't take obvious notes, okay? Be specific. So maybe Kennedy Airport in New York. Okay. And maybe it happened in the waiting area. Okay. Or you were on the plane. When they said, oh, there's some mechanical issues with the plane, we're going to have to ask all the passengers to get off the plane and wait for another flight. That has happened to me. Unfortunately, they didn't upgrade me to first class, but that has happened where the plane had some mechanical issues, and then we were asked to exit the plane and wait for another plane. Mind you, we did get another plane within a couple hours. We didn't have to wait a whole day, but yeah, so on the plane, right? So location, attendees. All right. Traveling with my family, sure, I don't need to write that, okay? Who else was there? All right. Angel, we don't need the year, because if I say last year, right, then it's last year. So again, that's why I mentioned, like, don't write down obvious notes, right? So stay away from obvious notes, like in 2015, right? That's why I didn't write down. So don't write down notes that you're going. Notes are there to help you. Notes are not there to state the obvious, right? I see that so often where students write notes for part 2 and then they don't use them because their notes are information that they already said. That's a very common mistake, by the way, everybody. So keep this in mind. So very often candidates write down notes and then never use them during the 2 minutes because they wrote obvious information. Okay, so don't write obvious information. Right, Angel, it's a good question. I hope that makes sense. All right. Okay, so attendees at who are the attendees? So who would be the attendee in this kind of a situation? Okay, and this would be one that you would want to write down, especially if you're having a hard time thinking about the okay, customer service. Yes, sure, we'll get back to that in a second. All right, who else would be the attendees here? These words can really help you. Okay. Passengers, yes. Okay. It's not a hostess, Dylan. What is it called in English? We usually don't call them hostesses, although I do understand who I think you're talking about, Dylan. They're called They used to be called a stewardess, but we don't call them a stewardess. If you use the word stewardess, that would be okay. It's more PC to call them flight attendants. Yes, flight attendants. And very good, Shruti, cabin crew. Yes, those are some useful words. Okay, so, okay. And maybe airline management if you're complaining. All right, so nice. That would be great. Those are some great words. Okay, now the activities. All right. So here the activities would be like wait 2 days, right? And then upgrade to first class. I'm not going to write that down because that's obvious, right? So sleeping cabin, great food, fine dining. Again, that appears, right? So you have some fine dining in first class, okay? Free movies. Okay. What else do you think you have in first class? Lots of space, right? Stretch out. Okay. Good. Experience. Champagne service. Very good, Dylan. Yes. Nice. Okay. Private bathrooms. Or washroom, right? So you get your own little washroom in first class that not everybody's using. You don't have to wait in line. All right, experience. Here again, you would use just E, and maybe you arrived well rested, right? You had a little snooze before you arrived to Dubai, so you had a great start to the trip. Okay. All right. You felt ritzy. Ritzy? Like that. Ritzy. Feeling ritzy means feeling wealthy. Okay. All right, students. Now, again, as you're taking your notes, remember, do not run out of time. Okay, so I've seen a couple of interesting mistakes while candidates are in their IELTS and they're doing their notes for part 2. Okay, so again, common mistakes. Okay, common mistakes in the note-taking time. And I've said this to you before, students, that your note-taking time is basically the most important part of your IELTS speaking exam. Because if you have a good idea, if you take good notes when you use that 1 minute wisely, you can do really well in part 2, and that will set up for a very good part 3. So again, keep that in mind, that your 1 minute note-taking time for part 2 should not be underestimated. Okay, you should really use that time wisely. Okay, common mistakes are candidates take notes that are obvious and they are not useful. Another common mistake is candidates forget to visualize. Not seeing the situation. You must see the situation. Okay. Another common mistake are candidates not using the 1 minute fully. Candidates will sometimes look at the examiner like, okay, I'm ready. What? Why would you do that? Why would you give up your preparation time? You should never give up preparation time. If you have time to prepare, you should never give up that time. Every second is valuable. Wait for the examiner to say, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. You should use every single second of that 1 minute. If for some reason your examiner will daydream and kind of look off into space and give you 1.5 minutes accidentally, hey, it's a lucky time. One of the lucky times I just recently had was during my IELTS exam. Usually students get 1 minute to prepare for their speaking part 2, but I believe my examiner forgot to start the clock, and they may have been thinking about what they were doing earlier in the morning. So they actually ended up giving me 5 minutes to think about my response, which led to a band 9 because I was able to really write down a lot of great details. Is he talking about me? Did we just do that? Right? That would be really funny. Anyway, use every second. Like, don't signal to the examiner, hey, I'm ready. Just start me. Get me in there. No. If they're giving you the 1 minute, use the 1 minute, okay? All right, so Gopu says, sir, I think I'm ready. No, right? Use every minute. You hear me talking? You're preparing your notes. More details, right, Gopu? So more time is great, okay? So, and then looking at the examiner like, hey, I'm ready. Put me in, coach. No. Use every second. Okay? All right. So that's a very common mistake. Okay? All right. Another mistake that students make is they don't know how to start. Okay? This is a very common mistake. The time is up. And the candidate has no idea how to start, or starts with a generic answer like, well, this would be really funny in this case, I've often been lucky, but the luckiest time I would like to talk about today is. Okay, so this is a very common mistake where candidates either don't know how to start, so the examiner says, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up, please begin speaking, and then the candidates go, well, honestly speaking, to tell you the truth, I've been lucky a lot of times. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak about a time that I was lucky. The time I would like to talk about today is... Your time is up, and now we will move on to part 3. Wait. So no. All right, you need to have a good, clear, direct answer and get into your response right away. All right. So not the right way to get a high band score. Okay. So a very, very important step in this 1 minute is when you have your notes. Your step 5 is to have your first sentence ready. Get your first clear, original sentence ready to start speaking. Okay? So one of the luckiest times I remember from recent is when I was upgraded from economy to a first class ticket on my trip to Dubai. Okay? So that would be your first sentence here. So one of the luckiest times I experienced recently was getting upgraded to a first class ticket from economy class flying New York to Dubai. Okay, so I answer the question right away. All right. Okay, so when the examiner says, okay, your 1 minute time is up, please begin speaking, you can say, one of the luckiest times I had recently was getting upgraded to a first class ticket from economy class flying New York to Dubai. Woohoo! This student is off to a band 9. Now, if you have this sentence and you've prepared this sentence and you still have some time, then maybe you go back to giving more detail, like activities, delicious cheesecake, right? Maybe you had some yummy dessert that was free. Okay. Chamanjat says, hey, can you help me to improve my band score from 5.5 to 7? Chamanjat, I sure can. Follow the instructions in this lesson, and it's a first great step if you get a question about an event for part 2. So absolutely, Chamanjat, that's what we're here to do. Okay, so here now the examiner says, okay, your time is up. Please begin speaking. And then you start. So one of the luckiest times I experienced recently was getting upgraded to a first class ticket from economy class flying New York to Dubai. Now again, everybody, this is speaking, so make sure to speak. If you learn or see new words, use them, okay? So here, like the words economy class, first class ticket, okay? And then you're literally just going through your notes and the obvious statements, right? So you combine the obvious that's already in your head with the details, right? So this happened last year when I was on a 2-week vacation with my wife and 2 children. To be more specific, it was in October. And it happened on a Saturday. I remember the day. See, notice how here, so you're going to see how those specific notes can help me visualize and generate information, right? I remember the day so specifically because, right? And joining words like because, as a result, since, so showing cause and effect, right? Because the original flight from Kennedy Airport was canceled, or here we can use some past perfect, had been canceled due to technical problems with the plane, and our flight was to be delayed for 48 hours until the following Monday. Okay. Now, here I can say this was really disappointing because it would have meant, notice all the nice grammar here, it would have meant losing 2 days of our vacation time. So, I called the airline management and made a formal complaint. Okay. Now, I'm going along nice here and using some great vocabulary, grammar. I'm feeling good about myself. What do I need to remember at this point, members? So I'm zipping along. I'm using my notes. I'm using the information. I'm about 25, 30 seconds in. What should I remember to do here? And this is a very, very, very important tip or strategy for your part 2, okay? It's extremely important. It's one of the other very, very common mistakes that lowers band scores. So Fwang says, look at the cue card. That's a good idea. So you're looking at the cue card. Sometimes people have a lot to say, so they forget to look at the cue card. Here's a very important tip, everybody. Okay. So yes, make sure to look at the cue card, and this is a very important tip. Reflect the topic of the cue card, and that comes with looking at the cue card. Every 30 seconds or so, 20 to 30 seconds. And if you want to get a really good band score, you want to paraphrase every 20 to 30 seconds and do your best to paraphrase it. Okay? So here we're talking about luck, right? What's another way to say luck? Okay? What often happens to many candidates is they kind of slowly but surely, as they're talking in the 2 minutes, they kind of swerve off of the main topic and they start talking about like, oh, and it was a lot of fun, we had a great time, it was so amazing to be in first class, and they just kind of float away from the focus of the cue card. Yeah. Chen, Fwang, Shruti, absolutely, fortune, Alexi, fortune, Bogdan, right, so fortunate. So here, I can say fortunately. They were very understanding and by chance, one of the first class passengers canceled last minute, so we were able to take their seats. Okay, right? So I'm reflecting the topic. It is super important to do that, okay? That will definitely help you to score better in part 2 and really set up for part 3. It will keep your mind focused on the topic. Everybody got that? I don't always emphasize that point, or I should say I don't emphasize it enough in these part 2 classes, but it's definitely absolute must, okay? So you want to keep coming back to this fortunate time, right? Fortunate time, this lucky time. Chen says, okay. All right? Okay, now if I get stuck, then I look at my notes. So in this way, instead of a negative experience, we had the flight of a lifetime. The flight attendants served us fine dining cuisine. I had steak and cheesecake, right? Might as well use it if I had that extra time. We watched free movies. My wife enjoyed the champagne service, and I even got a few hours of sleep in a completely prone position. Okay? There was lots of space, and none of us had to wait for the washroom, as we had our own in first class. Okay? All right. So now I'm just zipping along, right? So using those notes, looking at those notes, Kennedy Airport, on the plane, customer service, management, 7 a.m. Saturday, waiting for 2 days, great food, fine dining. So I'm using all of this, and I'm definitely checking the cue card to make sure I'm not missing any information. So where did this happen? I talked about it. When was it? Who was with me? I talked about that. Why were you lucky, and how did you feel about it? I've basically talked about that as well. So if I'm nearing my 2 minutes, I can just wrap it up, right? So I can say, this was a great turn of events, and instead of being stuck at the airport, we had a truly ritzy introduction to our Dubai experience. Certainly, I felt very lucky to have flown first class with my family for this 10-hour part of our trip. Okay? All right. There we go. So students, that's an example of a lucky time and how it's put together. Let's take a look at the questions. I'll go through this answer again. Follow with me just for practice, and then you will have a chance, members, viewers, to practice, okay, through the website. So hopefully you were thinking about that lucky time, taking some notes, viewers, members, as I instructed earlier, and now we will get to practice. Here we go. So think of a time when you were lucky. Where did this happen? When was it? Who were you with? Why were you lucky, and how did you feel about it? Okay, the examiner says your 1 minute preparation time is up. One of the luckiest times I experienced recently was getting upgraded to a first class ticket from economy class flying New York to Dubai. This happened last year when I was on a 2-week vacation with my wife and 2 children. To be more specific, it was in October and it happened on a Saturday. I remember the day so specifically because the original flight from Kennedy Airport had been canceled due to technical problems with the plane, and our flight was to be delayed for 48 hours until the following Monday. This was really disappointing because it would have meant losing 2 days of our vacation time. So I called the airline management and made a formal complaint. Fortunately, they were very understanding, and by chance one of the first class passengers canceled last minute, so we were able to take their seats. In this way, instead of a negative experience, we had the flight of a lifetime. The attendants served us fine dining cuisine. I had a steak and cheesecake. We watched free movies. My wife enjoyed the champagne service, and I even got a few hours sleep in a completely prone position. There was lots of space and none of us had to wait for the washroom. We had our own in first class. This was a great turn of events. And instead of being stuck at the airport, we had a truly ritzy introduction to our Dubai experience. Certainly, I felt very lucky to have flown first class with my family for this 10-hour part of our trip. Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there and we will now continue to part 3. I will ask you questions related to your response and some questions connected to this topic. Would you ever fly first class again if given the chance? Absolutely. If I have $6,000 per ticket, I would love to take the opportunity, as it was an amazing way to start our vacation. Okay, so they will follow up with a question like that, and I'm going to follow up, students, your responses with a question like that. So be ready. Okay, be ready. All right, let's do some volunteering. Okay. Chen, I love it. Chen goes, lucky moment, having a chance to volunteer in Adrian's live class. Right, Chen, see? Clever, clever. Alexi has put the instructions for volunteering into the chat. Thank you, Alexi. Follow Alexi's and Chen's instructions. First of all, go to aehelp.com, okay? You need to go to the website first and foremost so that you can create a student account. All you need is your email and username. The website looks like this. It's got this blue background and you can click this big red button to join the premium version of our course. It's just that button right above my head there. It's a one-time payment. You get lifetime access, and it's just really a great way to improve your English. Once you have a My Student account, you will be in this area here. You've got your computer-based IELTS practice exams, a full online academic course, and then here you're looking to click this big blue button that's just above my head there. It's free for everybody to use. It's the Student Partner Speaking. So click that Student Partner Speaking. Accept the terms that you will speak politely, and then you will be in here. So you will notice that we've got Gopu in here, we've got Anahita, Shruti, Alexi, Chayani, Fuang, and then you can send me a notification that you want to volunteer. You will see me in here as master. So the little blue envelope that's beside my name there, click that. And then I will see that you're trying to communicate and volunteer. And Gopu is ready to go here. Shruti is ready to go here. Let's start with Shruti. And so far, we've got a good number of volunteers, so hang in there. Shruti, are you ready? I don't think Shruti's had a chance in a while, if ever, so let's give Shruti a chance. Are you ready? Shruti can hear me. Shruti says yes. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Shruti. How are you?
Hi. Hello.
Hi, Shruti. How are you?
Hello. Hi, Adrian. I'm fine.
Good. Shruti, make sure you're using the audio through the website, not YouTube, because otherwise we'll be delayed. Okay?
Yeah.
So, yeah, mute YouTube. Okay, perfect. Shruti, we spoke before, I think, once, haven't we?
No, not yet.
Is this the first time?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, can you tell me where you are?
Originally, I'm from India, but currently I'm residing in Melbourne, Australia for my studies.
Right. And you booked a full IELTS a mock speaking interview with me as well, right?
Yeah, it is all
Okay.
because I'm stuck with speaking a bit.
Okay. All
I
right.
already booked the test. Like I already took the test 3 times, but always it is like 7.5 in speaking, whereas I'm getting 9 in listening, reading, and 7.5 in writing.
Okay, so you want to upgrade your speaking score. All right, well, I will definitely
Yes.
help you with that. So smart of you to book that interview, and we'll figure out the time for sure. I did
Yeah.
get that last email that you sent me. Okay, Shruti, let's do this cue card. So this is great practice for you then. Okay, I will bring the cue card up and then I will start you off. I'm going to take some notes and then I will give you feedback after. Here we go. So that is the end of part one. We will now continue with part two. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to prepare your answer, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. Think of a time when you were lucky. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay, so the time when I was the luckiest one, I would say when I won a family trip to Manali. It all happened a couple of years ago on the occasion of Diwali, when there was an inauguration of a new jewelry store in the heart of my hometown, Saharanpur. Subsequently, many customers from their old chain stores were invited for the launch, and there were a huge crowd. Even the people from all the areas of the town were showed up at the event. Uh, it was expected to be the usual event where people buy the items on the first day to boost the sale of the store. However, I found something different for public entertainment, which includes some games and some food stalls. In fact, many people won amazing prizes, and the whole atmosphere was very happening because there were happy faces of the people, those who were winning the different kind of the prizes. But the final announcement was like a thunderbolt for me because it was the first prize winner for the lucky draw who is going to win a family trip to Manali for 2 days and 3 nights. And to my surprise, it was me who won it. I could not believe my ears to have such a huge win, and I was like feeling that I am the luckiest person on this earth that day. The organizers even called me and my mother on the stage, and they gave me all the booking details and how we have to go there. Finally holding it in my hands, I was like flying in the air, and I considered that day that I am the luckiest person on this earth, and better than this nothing could happen with me.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there. And we will now continue with part three. For this part, I will ask you a question related to your response and some questions on the topic of part two. How was this trip to Denali?
I guess it was superb. Me and my family enjoyed a lot, and it was the first experience in the snow, so it was just fascinating.
Okay. Yes, I think 7.5 is a very accurate assessment of your speaking. All right. Your fluency is like a band 8, band 9. Okay. Your grammatical range and accuracy is between a 7 and an 8. And I think that's one of the criteria that's holding you at the 7.5. You are fairly coherent, so I do understand what you're saying. It's mostly your grammatical range, accuracy, and your lexical resource that's keeping you kind of at that 7 to 8 band. Like in some parts, I understand what you're saying, but the English is slightly awkward. You said, but the final announcement was like a thunderbolt for me. And I get it, but it's kind of weird to say like a thunderbolt. I get what you mean, like it was like a shock for you,
Yeah.
but it's a bit of a strange way to express it. And then you said, holding it in my hands, I was flying in the air. I get what you mean. Like you were so happy that you were floating. So a more common way to express that would be floating. You're floating in the air. So instead of flying in the air, it's understandable, but it's like you're making up your own English. It's kind of, it's interesting. It's interesting the way that you speak. So here, what you'd want to do is use more common idioms. So it's kind of ironic because a lot of people say I was over the moon. And it's like an overused idiom in the IELTS. But in this case, that's actually what you want to do. You'd want to use something like I was over the moon, because this is the perfect place to use that kind of an idiom. So holding it in my hands, I was over the moon. And that would be like, oh, okay, somebody actually used that idiom really well this time in this context. So that's where, or here's where you'd want to use I was on cloud 9. Okay. So this is where that idiom would just be more accurate than flying in the air. So what you want to do, Shruti, is when you're practicing your speaking at home and you practice doing a part 2 response, record it. Okay, listen back and try to identify these expressions where you need to replace it with a more standard idiom or word, okay, to make it more natural. So I think the reason why the examiner is giving you a 7.5 instead of an 8 is because it's not as natural as it should be, your response. Are you following with me here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
But having said that, Shruti, a 7.5 is really good. I know a lot of candidates would be over the moon if they got a 7.5. So you should be proud of that. Even native speakers score around a 7.5 in the speaking. So you're doing really well. The other important tip, Shruti, is be more direct. So I felt like you spent a lot of time in the beginning of the 1 to 2 minutes talking about the other people that were at this jewelry store inauguration, and you were talking about people coming from other towns. Instead of that, focus more on the lucky time. Like, I haven't been on a vacation for years because I was so busy with my studies, and it was just such a pleasant surprise to get this free vacation that was worth at least 100,000 rupees to enjoy with my mother after graduating university. So focus more on your experience, on your luck, rather than the event itself. Do you follow what I mean here with that?
Yeah, I was a bit confused in that sense that I can explain the after effect of getting that being lucky, or I have to just stick to the time when I'll be lucky.
It's a good question. So a balance. Definitely talk about the time when you were lucky. So talk about winning that first prize. Absolutely. But in this case, I would certainly include some of the actual prize as well. So we had a lovely 3 days. It was really relaxing. We stayed in a 4-star resort, and I definitely felt lucky, right? Because sometimes, when we have moments of luck, sadly, they don't end well. Like we ended up staying in a terrible 1-star hotel, right? So,
Yeah.
so it's good to, when you get a prize and that prize is a trip, then maybe a couple sentences for sure on the whole event being very lucky from start to finish. Okay.
Okay.
All right. But Shruti, right idea, focus on natural English and focus on targeting the topic more specifically. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you for the guidance. Yeah.
Awesome. Keep up the good work. And I look forward to that full interview with you as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah, sure.
Bye, Shruti.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. All right, that was Shruti. Yeah, we have this function here, the speaking interview practice, and you can book a full mock IELTS speaking interview. We record that session, we send it to you, and we give you detailed feedback on all parts. So, Shruti, good for you. Good for you to study so hard. I have a good feeling we can get you to a band 8 in the speaking. Okay. All right. One of our other members here, Gopu, and let's be fair with Gopu. Gopu, I think, was one of the first ones here. So Gopu, are you ready to give us an answer. So winning a free vacation, a free trip, another really great idea for this cue card question. Gopu says always. Okay, Gopu, here we go. Thumbs up for Shruti. Good job, everybody. Yes, absolutely.
Hey, sir.
Hi, Gopu. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. It's great to talk to you again.
Good. All right, Gopu, I want you to give 110% energy, nice full sentences, and good structure, okay?
I'll try, sir.
All right.
All right.
Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start you off. Think about a time when you were lucky. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
The time that I felt lucky was a road trip, which I went with my friends in the previous year, which is December. After I bought my bike, I was eagerly waiting for the perfect time to go out and explore the different places. Luckily, I was able to found a group of people, riders, who are also from the same showroom where I bought my bike. So 2 days, 2 days after I met them, they told me that there was a trip is going on the next week. So I was literally over the moon to hear. There was a perfect opportunity for me, and I still vividly remember that everything that I have prepared. I was really prepared well for the trip, the safety and precaution, and I wore riding jackets and gloves. I really enjoyed the trip. Unfortunately, in the way back from the trip, we stopped for a tea. Due to carelessness, I didn't kick the stand and started my bike. As I ignited, the stand got stuck, hit in the road. I lost balance. On the one side of the road, it was a big slope to the hills, and on the other side, there was a private bus which was swiftly came to the direction to me. I almost thought that was the end. Nevertheless, some fortune factor works on that moment, and my bike stuck on the bush of the side of the road. Although my bike was damaged badly, I only struggled with my ankles. After the incident, my friends
your time is up. I'm going to stop you there, and we will now go on to part 3. I will ask you a question related to your response and some questions connected to this topic. So you had this accident during your trip. Why do you still feel that this was a lucky time?
First thing, I escaped from that dangerous incident. Secondly, I was lucky enough to find good people from that experience. They most of the time they motivated me, and they took care of all my things. So that gave me a good experience as well as good relationships.
Okay, Gopu. So, yes, careful. If you go from lucky to unlucky, the examiner is going to interrupt you, especially if you start talking about the opposite of what the cue card is asking you, right? So, at first I was really excited. I'm like, ooh, it's a fun road trip on a brand new bike. And then it turned from good to disaster with, I hope that, did this happen to you, Gopu?
Yeah, it happened to me.
Oh, no. And did the bad part happen to you as well?
Yeah, the accident happened to me actually.
Oh no!
It was a
All right.
scary moment. Really awful moment for me.
Oh no, that does sound like an awful moment. So it was yeah. This is what I was saying to Shruti. This is why it's good to talk about the end of the event as well, because then we know it was fortunate. So here, okay, you had the right idea. What you want to do is when this accident happens, you get into this accident. First of all, careful not to give too much details here on the IELTS, because
Mm-hmm.
trying to explain the story in a lot of detail is very tricky. I think it would be for anybody, regardless if they're
Mm-hmm.
native English speaker or not. So
Mm-hmm.
I would have kept that part of your story very simple. So I would have said something
All right.
like, unfortunately, I had an
Mm-hmm.
accident during this trip, but
Mm-hmm.
luckily I wasn't terribly injured and I still made some really good friends. So overall,
Right.
it was a very positive experience. And looking back at this situation now, I'm still very happy and feel very fortunate that I got to go on this road trip. And I go on lots of road trips with the people who I met
Mm-hmm.
during this time. So overall, it was great. So I would quickly
Right.
switch back so that the examiner knows that, I'm not going from one side of the cue card to the complete opposite. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
so IELTS is definitely a thinking exam. You have to be very clever and kind of keep the goal in mind, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to try that again? Just that one little last piece. So, all I want you to do is practice saying this. Unfortunately, I had an accident during this road trip. I dumped my bike. Okay. If you don't use your kickstand and your bike kind of falls or falls on the ground or on a bush, we say you
Right.
dumped your bike.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
Mm-hmm.
dumped my bike. However, luckily, I was still able to ride my bike and I made some great friends. So I remember this trip in a very positive way. Okay, try that. Just those couple of sentences. Try that.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it was a very awful experience. I mean, experience regarding the incident. Uh, and in fact, I dumped my bike. However, I made it. I had the opportunity to have a really good travel experience as well as uh, to chance. I mean, to the opportunity to meet great people. That's a part of my uh, daily friendship.
And that's
I'm
why
grateful.
I look back at this as a lucky time.
Oh, right, right, okay. That's
Okay.
why I specifically see this particular event as a lucky day or
Okay, good. Yeah.
lucky.
So you want to finish on that note, right? You want to make it clear for the examiner that you
Mm,
understand the task and you're
yeah,
not changing it. You're not talking about an unlucky time suddenly, right? Because then it would be the opposite.
right.
And the examiner will kind of give you this weird look like, are we talking about the same cue card? Right? So,
Right,
Gopu,
right, right.
careful with that, okay? So, careful with your strategy. I think your band score for that response would have been about a 6.5. Okay, so
Okay.
fluent to a little bit over fluent, which is
How can I
okay.
how can I ever get over from 6.5 to or at
Well,
least 7.5?
first of all, make sure to stay with the right topic. Okay, so don't go
Right,
from
right,
lucky
right.
to unlucky because then it becomes incoherent and your coherency score goes down, right? So make sure to stay coherent.
Mm,
Okay, all right. That's
right,
number
right.
one. Build a bit more fluency. Okay, pay attention
Mm-hmm.
to avoiding things. You tend to use the word things quite often. Pay attention to
Okay.
using better nouns. Okay, so it took care of all of
Oh.
my belongings or all of my possessions. So use
Mm-hmm.
better
Mm-hmm.
words. Okay, and keep
Got it, got
practicing.
it.
Gopu, keep practicing. Keep doing what you're doing. Lots of energy. Try to put lots of energy into your speech. Okay.
Surely, surely, sir, surely.
All right.
This time I will get a good score and yeah,
I'm
I'll,
here to help you, Gopu. I'm here to help you for
yes,
sure.
yes,
We'll talk again soon. Okay.
sure. And
Okay. Bye,
bye.
Gopu.
Take care.
Let's give Gopu a thumbs up and let's keep our fingers crossed that he stays safe on his next um, trips. Okay, let's jump to the bottom of the list here. Bogdan is at the bottom. Let's give Bogdan a chance. So Bogdan, are you ready? All right, Alexi, thank you for giving Gopu the thumbs up. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Hi, Bogdan. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing quite well also. Thank you for asking. Okay, Bogdan, do you consider yourself to be a lucky person?
Uh, yes, I do. I've got pretty a couple of lucky times throughout my life, so I can say that I'm a lucky person.
Okay, good. It's usually a good way to be. When a person considers themselves lucky, it means they have a positive outlook on life. They're optimistic, which is good.
Yeah.
In a lifetime, when we live about 70, 80 years or so, most of us actually have a similar number of lucky and unlucky events happen. It's just how we perceive those events. All right.
Okay.
Living to
Yeah.
80 is already
Or
quite
archetype.
lucky, right? So
Yeah, of course.
I think the biggest luck we all have is just being human. Imagine all those rocks and all those pieces of sand on Earth that we could be, or we could even be a mouse or a cricket or some other creature, but we're human. Being human is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's already winning the ultimate universal lottery, right? Lucky time in my life, I was born a human instead of a frog.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. All right, Bogdan, but this is your chance to shine. I'm going to start you off, and then please begin speaking. So here we go. Think of a time when you were lucky. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay. One of the times when I got lucky was getting questions that I was prepared for on my exam. This happened during my winter finals, and to be more specific, on the 1st of December when I had my mineralogy exam. And 5 days prior to that exam, I was sent 40 questions for preparation. But due to the fact that that at that time I was revising for my other exams, so I was a bit pressed for time, and I did not have this time to cover all these questions for mineralogy exam. So I answered only 4 of them, and I decided to learn them by heart just in case. And on my exam day at 10 a.m., I had to go to the auditorium 616 to write this exam. And upon entering, I saw that my group mates had already been given their tasks. And I noticed all of their pale faces, and I thought to myself that they must have had extremely difficult questions, and I had this terrible feeling. But fortunately, when I was given my question paper, I looked at open mouth because I realized that I had been given these exact 4 questions that I had prepared. And I was extremely happy with this, and I thought I was extremely lucky. And within 40 minutes, I managed to answer all of them. And after just 3 days, my teacher said that I had scored 95 out of 100. And in retrospect, I reckon that if I had been given completely different questions, I would have failed my exam. So this was the time when I got extremely lucky.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there. And we will now continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you a question related to your response and some questions connected to this topic. How did your score on this exam impact the rest of your studies?
Scoring 95 helped me move higher in the list of students, and by doing that, I managed to get a scholarship for the next semester.
Okay, very good. Okay, so that was great, Bogdan. That would be about a band 8. So that's definitely in the very good range according to the IELTS. You had really nice range of grammar. You had really nice range of lexical resource. So definitely in the very good. Okay, so around the band 8, nicely structured for sure. You paid attention to reflecting the question. So, you said fortunate, lucky a few different times. It was very visual. One point I want everybody to pay attention to, especially if you listen back to these responses from various students, is how visual Bogdan's response was. You can literally almost feel like you are Bogdan going into this exam and kind of keeping your fingers crossed that the question comes up that you had prepared for and not one of the other questions. And you see the pale faces of those other students. That was really good. There was some awkward language. So when you get into that 7, 5, 8, 8, 5, 9, sounding natural does become a key factor to getting the 8.5 and 9. So selecting the best words and the most natural words. So kind of similar to what I said to Shruti. Like you said, when I was given my question paper, I looked at it with an open mouth. I know what you were trying to say, but it's not exactly how you say it. There's a different way to express that. Given a second chance here, Bogdan, do you know what the correct way to express this? Instead of with an open mouth, there's another way to say it. I'll give you a hint. The lower part of our head, this bottom part here with our bottom teeth, what is that called?
Jaw, with open jaw.
Not open jaw, but you're right. It has the jaw.
Dropped jaw.
That's right. Yes, exactly. My jaw dropped. Yeah.
My jaw dropped. Okay.
Yeah, I'll make the correction and I'll get you to repeat it. But fortunately, when I was given my question paper, my jaw dropped. Okay, that's the expression or the idiom that we use in this case. So just repeat after me. So, but fortunately, when I was given my question paper, my jaw dropped. It was the exact question that I had memorized the answer for.
Fortunately, when I was given my exam paper, my jaw dropped because I got the exact 4 questions that I had prepared for.
That's band 9, okay? Because that uses the exact expression naturally. So with you, it's kind of the same advice that I gave to Shruti, and it's a common advice for 7, 5, 8, even 8, 5 level candidates, is just review your responses and try really to identify those expressions or sentences that don't sound quite natural. Everybody understands it. I understand it. But it's not 100% natural, right? So,
okay.
And then see what that is. Now, of course, that's where, you do want to get the help of native speakers when you can, because oftentimes it's only native speakers that can catch the discrepancy in that natural language, okay?
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
All right. But that's why you're here, right, Bogdan? For that
of course,
of feedback.
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing right now. All right, Bogdan. Otherwise, wonderful response. And did this actually happen? And may I ask?
Yes, it did. Actually, last year it happened.
Lucky.
Yeah.
All right, good for you. Okay, Bogdan, we'll talk again. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Goodbye.
Goodbye. All right. Thumbs up for Bogdan. Okay, so students, I'm out of time here, unfortunately. I would love to hear a lot more part 2s from you, but worry not, everyone. Again, if you really are pressed, I highly recommend booking an IELTS speaking interview practice with me, like a full 30-minute. It's worth it. It's $25 US, and I know that's a lot in many currencies, but hey, you're going to get some really good feedback to point you in the right direction. So you can use that. And members, students that didn't get a chance, Fuang, Alexi, don't give up. We've got speaking part 3 coming up, and I do keep a kind of a list in my head of who should be coming next in their chances to volunteer. So don't feel like you were unlucky. We will be continuing, and the next class I will focus mostly on student answers and feedback, okay? So again, join our premium IELTS package. It's really worth it. aehelp.com. It's that big red button that's just above my head. It's a one-time payment. You get lifetime access. For general IELTS students, speaking is the same, and you click this big red button here. Okay, right there, one-time payment. lifetime access. So check it out. ahelp.com, glshelp.com. We'll be using them next class as well to interact with students. Thank you to our volunteers today. Thank you, members, for your support. Practice these strategies, okay? Part 2 is the foundation for those high band scores in your IELTS speaking test. So make sure to practice. I'm back with speaking part 3, so don't go too far. Stretch your legs, get a glass of water, practice your English, practice speaking with other students through the website. In the meantime, really build some good fluency, and I will see you in 30 minutes. I'm Adrian signing out for now. Bye.